Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another throwback video review for one of the best zombie movies of all time, that is of the zombie-styled spoof, Shaun of the Dead. Okay, so since there really is not a whole lot on television these days aside from Breaking Bad and Under the Dome, it's been okay. But, I'm kind of out of Walking Dead topics, so one of the next things for me to do is to go ahead and review some of my favorite zombie or, Walking Dead movies, zombie apocalypse movies that have been released. I still have to review pretty much all of the Romero films. I haven't reviewed any of them yet in my channel, so I want to go ahead and do that eventually, but definitely before I get into those, because there's a good number of them, this one was one that a lot of people requested I go ahead and do a review for right off the bat before I get into any of those, and since I don't have any Walking Dead topics really left, at least not any good ones for the most part until we get new content. So that being said, I do think that, upon watching this again, I rewatched it so that I could do this review, and because it's just a really fun movie. I've seen it a few times now, and it was actually released. It's crazy to think how fast time flies. It was released in 2004 in September. So we're looking at 9 years later now that I've gone ahead and rewatched it. And I'll tell you, it holds up really well for today. It's something that you can watch and just really enjoy, shut your brain off, and just have a lot of fun watching, in that it's just got, so many cool elements to it. It sort of like takes, I want to say, the average sort of zombie movie approach to the way it's handled, but it does it in a comedic fashion rather than in a serious tone. It looks to me mostly inspired by your Romero films, Shaun of the Dead rather than Day of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. It's sort of like a play on words, Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead. And it's done by Edgar Wright, and it features, of course, Simon Pegg. This was the Simon Pegg also wrote it with Edgar Wright, but Edgar Wright was the director. This was the first time I've seen Simon Pegg in anything, and I think it's probably his most memorable performance. He's had some other movies since then, of course. There was Hot Fuzz. Recently, they had The World's End. I haven't seen that one yet. I definitely would like to check it out. It seems like there's a lot of similarities between that one and this one. Not that it's exactly the same, but there's some similarities there with the drinking and all that kind of stuff. It also has a different style that I'm really not used to in terms of the cinematography, in terms of the angles, and in terms of the style. It has like a British style that I'm really not used to, used to seeing. It, of course, is set in London, which is fun because, that's not something you see every day either. It's kind of a unique environment to see for a zombie apocalypse, and I really like the way you get a really good feel for where this character, Shaun, lives, what his life is like very quickly, his family, his friends, his girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, halfway through or whatever, and then girlfriend again at the end. And it really is cool to see, for someone like me living here in Canada, what a really dense city like London is like, where you have like the houses are all so close, and a lot of people are renting. Not many people own homes. They're split up between multiple people. Usually, cars are really not very useful because it's so dense. For the most part, you're going to be probably walking or taking, the bus or whatever the case may be, because there's just hardly any space, And I mean, that is interesting to see what a zombie apocalypse is like in that kind of environment where everything is so close. In North America here, like in the U.S., even more than in Canada, I think, a lot of things are like, just in terms of our daily living, things are a lot more spread out. You don't have that many people packed into such a small space like you do in this environment, which is, it's cool to see, that different type of environment that I'm really not used to. So I liked all of that. Back to what I was saying about the angles. there's a lot of transitions and really quick, like shots of them going over, like when they're planning how they're going to go and rescue his mom and his girlfriend and all of these kinds of things. Like it goes over it a couple times, but each time it like leaves out a bit, and there's just a lot of fun, like quick transitions for what they do. Him getting ready for work really fast, brushing his teeth, and just different things on the way. It's a tactic that I don't see used almost at all in North American film. I can't think of a single movie that uses these types of things and the angles too. Just really a lot of fun and really different to see, and not amateurish. Done really, really well. Just a different style. So I like that a lot about the movie. It adds to the sort of spoof comedy to it, and it makes it even funnier than it would be if they just done it the normal, average North American way of filming it. So that's a lot of fun too. Let's go over the characters before we get into the plot. So we have Simon Pegg as Shaun, one of the most memorable characters, I think, in a zombie apocalypse movie. Now, of course, his name is in the title, Shaun of the Dead, so you're going to remember him, at least, if any character from the movie, you're going to remember him, which is a problem with a lot of the Romero films, is the characters are very forgettable, some of them. Definitely you're going to remember Shaun. He's a lot of fun, really kind of like your, just kind of like your, I guess, your average bloke, so to speak, your average dude in London that just kind of struggling in life, struggling his way through life. He's a TV salesman at a job where he works with a lot of younger employees that basically don't care, and he's still there working there. Not really self-fulfilled, not really proud of himself or his life and what's going on with him. In addition to that, you have his girlfriend Liz, who's played by Kate Ashfield, who does, a pretty good job of just basically being his love interest, that because he's, having so much trouble with his life, she tends to, is upset with him that he isn't willing to take the relationship to the next level, and that he always has Ed around. Ed, played by Nick Frost, we've seen him in a lot of the other Simon Pegg movies as well. He tends to include him. For example, Hot Fuzz, he was in that too. And he plays, your kind of like loser type character that just wants to get high all the time and have lots of fun. So he's a fun character as well too, and I like the way him and Shaun play off of each other and go back and forth. Definitely a lot of fun. In addition to that, we have Lucy Davis plays Diane. We have Dylan Moran, who plays David, who's kind of like your prick character that doesn't like Shaun because Shaun's dating Liz, and he kind of likes Liz but is dating Lucy. So, you get that dynamic, which is kind of fun and silly at the same time. Let's see. You have his mom, and you have Philip, his stepdad, who also plays a pretty funny role in this when he's bitten inside the car and turns into a zombie or a walker. When he's basically, when they're trying to get to the World's, or not the World's End, the Winchester, which is their favorite bar that they go to and that they always basically go to, which is another thing that Liz complains about. So I do think the script is really good. So the characters are great. A lot of fun with the characters. Enjoy all of them, especially between Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, Shaun and Ed, and the way they play off of each other. Also Peter, he's in there too. He's their sort of like their roommate, so to speak, who also lives there but is more successful and is more concentrated on his career and stuff, rather than Ed, who's the opposite and doesn't care. So it's fun to see them, their little arguments and all the little jokes and all the little things in it. Some of the most memorable parts of the movie, I would have to say, are probably like where you have the zombie apocalypse is just starting, and it's very creative the way they sort of have Shaun play. He's hungover, so he doesn't really know what's going on. He kind of wakes up and he's yawning, and it kind of seems like you're going to see a zombie, and they kind of tease at it, like when, zombies are coming, but when are they coming? How is it going to happen? And they're stumbling back from their favorite bar, the Winchester, and you have the zombie who's coming to the street, and then they're going back and forth, and there's just a lot of little silly, fun moments like that just play off of it really well. The funniest was probably when they start walking and pretending that they're all zombies, they're all walkers, And for the sake of the movie, it works really well. Because granted, it is his own movie. It's not a part of like another zombie universe. So in their universe, I suppose it works, and they trick the zombies before they sort of are found out when they start arguing. When Ed gets a call on his phone, and then they eventually, of course, after getting his mom, getting his girlfriend, and the others, and they finally get into the Winchester and their bar. They board it up and everything like that. But it's not long until the walkers come for them. And to make a long story short, for sake of the time in the review, I'll let if you haven't seen it, I don't want to totally spoil it for you. So it's fun to see which characters survive and which don't. And it's silly at the same time. And the ending, there's a nice little friendship piece that is sort of there. It kind of feels like it feels right, and it's kind of fun at the same time too. So I'll let you guys who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Those who haven't, you can kind of watch it and see. I don't want to spoil anything too much in it, for you, in case anyone hasn't seen it and just is interested, because it's a zombie type movie. So the plot's great. I think it's a lot of fun. The characters are great. The visuals are awesome. The sound is good. There's a lot of Queen and different bands and just fun stuff. This one for me is just. It's a really fun movie, It's one of those that just captures that fun factor, and because it's from the UK, it's different, It's different, and it feels unique for me anyway, because I'm not used to seeing British, I don't watch British television, or I mean, a lot of people watch Doctor Who and different stuff, but I personally don't. I never really got into it. But it's a really cool style to see by itself. It's a lot of fun. It's funny. It's not really scary, I wouldn't say. I mean, no, I wouldn't really say it's scary. Not compared to something like The Walking Dead or some of the other stuff out there. There's really no real scary parts to it because it's a comedy. Those two, you can't really mix horror with comedy and still be scary after. It's really more of like a funny movie. Now, in terms of like my favorite zombie movies, this one I didn't count on the list because I don't think of it as just a typical zombie movie that should be counted against some of the others like the Romero Deads and these types of things, because it doesn't take itself seriously. And because it doesn't take itself seriously, it's more like a spoof comedy. It's not part of the same genre. It's not really horror. It's just, a lot of fun. So I can definitely recommend Shaun of the Dead to anyone who has not seen it. For me, it was an instant classic as soon as I saw it. It was completely unique, and it was really my first exposure where I got to see Simon Pegg, who I think he's really funny. He's definitely a lot of fun. And his friend too, Nick Frost, the fat guy. He's fun too. So all around, it's definitely a fun movie. And if you haven't seen it, you should probably check it out if you just want to see a fun comedy and you want zombies in it at the same time. There's really nothing else out there like it. So in terms of a score, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 as a comedy. I wouldn't rate it on the same scale as like what I would, a serious horror zombie movie. So that's why I give it, such a high score, because it is a comedy, and obviously I love zombies, and I think that it's really unique in what it does. There's really nothing else like it, and I'm not too big on comedy most of the time. But this one for me really does it, and it's really a lot of fun. So definitely check it out if you guys haven't seen it. If you have, let me know what you think about Shaun of the Dead. If you guys have any other video suggestions for me to review, maybe some other zombie movies or shows. People want to see me review Dead Set. A few people have asked for that, so that may be something I'll do fairly soon. I'll write it down and I'll consider it. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought about Shaun of the Dead. I think it's a classic comedy zombie spoof. Probably the best zombie spoof ever, because there's some others that are really not very good, and I don't know if you want to consider Evil Dead to be a spoof. I don't know. It's not really exactly the same. So, but this one is probably the best zombie spoof that there is in terms of comedy. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.